As a PhD and a professor, I often think that we have an unwarranted sense of self-importance. And we think that we can rationalize our way to get from here to there. We just simply have to tell people and educate people enough, and everything will work out in the way that it is intended. And I'm going to tell you this right now, that that's not the way that the world works. One of the things that you come to realize as you study people, or when you go and try to build something yourself, you realize the world does not revolve around you. And you deeply realize that a lot of people make mistakes. A lot of people have all sorts of issues that are going on, and you can't fix them. And so what do you do in this circumstance? If only, right? We always say, if only we had everything all laid out, it would all work out in my favor and the world would be so much better off. I think in my mind that you come at it in a much different way. And in my mind, you come at it as you can't fix people. You can't fix the world. You can't even influence people in the way that people think, oh yeah, you're an influencer. No, that's not what happens. But what can I do is accept the world as it is and move forward from here. I look at the world and I say, okay, it didn't work out as planned, the way that I thought it was going to work out. All right, so let's figure out a way to adjust. Or I look at it and some people think that we should be convincing other people or influencing other people. And I say, nope, can't. You just can't. But what can I do is simply walk a good life, study the things that need to be studied, and then hopefully 1 out of 10,000, maybe 1 out of 1,000,000 people will see what I'm looking at. And they will listen to the thing that I'm actually interested in. Or they don't. And that's the chance that you take when you do anything like this. I'll never be the person that tries to convince anymore. I've given up on that. I've given up on the notion that you can create something, everybody is going to come to it. Instead, I've taken a view where I simply just acknowledge the world as it is. And I give the world the middle finger so that I have some separation between me and the rest of the world. And I live a healthy and happy life. And my life is healthy and happy. And it's going to continue to be healthy and happy no matter what happens. And whatever comes our way, I'm going to practice this. And I hope people will actually start to see this and they'll be enticed. Maybe they'll be curious, but that's about it. That's the only thing that I can do. And sit here and realize that the world is the world, right? Like you can't change that. You can't go around and evangelizing. I often think about these, you see these folks on the street corners and some of you have done this where you're trying to evangelize or you're trying to preach to the world. And I realize I understand, I get it. I understand the role. But at the same time, I think what a challenging thing that you have up against you. You have to go and shout at a world that doesn't want to listen. And that's ultimately the truth that you have to do as a professor. There's not a lot of difference between what we do in research and what somebody else does in religion. There's very little difference between the two, other than we're just curious a little bit. But I suspect there's lots of curious people there too. So, what I'm coming back to is you can't change the world. You have to accept the world. and then you move on, and you can't convince anybody. You have to simply live your life as it is and be okay with that. You can't do all those things that people often tell you that you're supposed to do, right? Like, you can't intentionally do those. They naturally happen. There's no forcing that you could do to change the world. There's no willing it to happen. You simply have to do your thing and walk your walk. And one would hope, and that's all you go by, is one would hope that somebody is listening out there and they start recognizing you for who you are. I'm becoming, as a strategy professor, that's what I teach, I'm becoming less enthralled with strategy. Because I think strategy implies that you understand everything and you're trying to get to some place. You have some sort of goal in mind and you're trying to solve that particular goal. But in my mind, I often don't think that's the case for my own life. I don't even know what that goal is. I know the goal is to live a happy and healthy life, but that's a hard thing to measure. But what can I do? Is accept the world as it is. Look at the world, realize, yup, there's a lot of problems. Yup, I'm going to try to study it. I'm going to try to be happy. And along the way, I might leave a little bit of inkling things to tease people so that they can go and find something else on their own. But that's about it. I can't force people to want to learn something or see the beauty in something. I can't. It doesn't happen. I have to take a step back and realize it's okay. I'm me, and that's okay. And one day, you'll have thought about or listened to something that I've said. And maybe it'll resonate and maybe not. But that's okay. And I think if we all collectively as professors, we did this a little bit more. We got off our high horse. We simply accepted the world as it is. We loved ourselves a little bit more and the world a little bit less. I think we'll be far better off. And we'll be able to have a little bit more influence because we're living a happy and healthy life. Because people, well, this is what I imagine. This is my goal. Is that if you live a happy and healthy life enough, and it's a beautiful life, people start getting curious. There's this thing in strategy that we know that if you're doing very well, people like to copy you. I wonder if that would happen in our own lives. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.